Hi everyone, welcome to Java Techie. In this tutorial, we'll discuss one interesting design pattern, that is pipeline design pattern. Pipeline design pattern is a behavioral design pattern. It is used to process data through a sequence of stages, and each stage perform a specific operation on the data and then pass the modified data to the next stage in the pipeline. So it is very useful when you have a sequence of transformation or operations to apply on the same data, and you want to build this sequence in a modular and reusable way. So don't worry if you don't understand this definition. Let me walk you through one real-time scenario to get more context of this design pattern. Okay. So to demonstrate this pipeline design pattern, let's consider a real-time use case where I want to design a pipeline to automate deployment process of my application to Kubernetes cluster. So for that, what I can do, I can follow couple of steps or stages to complete that process. So being a developer, what I can do, I can commit my code to the GitHub. Then Jenkins webhook will pull the code change from the GitHub. Then based on the build tool what you are using, it will build your project and it will build the Docker image. Then it will push the Docker image to hub. Then you can deploy that particular image to Kubernetes cluster. These are the steps you need to follow to automate the entire flow. Now you need to observe here, the flow of execution is step by step and in sequential manner, and each step depends on each other. So Docker image, build Docker image step depends on build Maven. Similarly, push to the Docker hub depends on the build Docker image. Okay. So each step depends on another step to complete that particular flow. So in this case, what happened? Since the flow of execution is sequential step by step, if any step failed, then the flow of execution will break there itself. For example, if this build Maven project is failed, then in that case the flow will stop here only. It won't execute build Docker image. Okay, because this particular step build Maven, it won't give you any output. If it will give any output, then this second step, which is build Docker image, will take that output as an input and continue to execute. Since this build Maven step is failed, it won't return any output to the next step. That is what all about the pipeline design pattern. Okay, when I'm saying pipeline design pattern, it's just to execute the things in step by step. If any step is failed, then break the flow there itself rather than cascading that failure to the next stage. Okay, that is what the pure use case of pipeline design pattern. So I hope you got some little bit idea about pipeline design pattern. If not, don't worry, we'll understand this with code. Okay, cool. Let's consider a use case. Imagine you are developing an e-commerce platform. When a customer places an order, then that order needs to be processed with lot of step. When I'm saying lot of step, for example, let's say a customer placed an order, then that order first need to validate. Once the validation is done, then we can go with the payment. Once the payment is done, then we will update the inventory. Once the inventory is update, then we need to just, what we can do, we can ship that order, right? Shipping. Once shipping is done, then we want to notify to the user. Now in a single pipeline, we want to execute multiple steps: validate, payment, inventory, shipping and notification. If any step is getting failed, then we want to break the flow there itself. Okay, we don't want to continue further. This you can achieve using pipeline design pattern. And another advantage is, in future if you want to add another stage, let's say discount, then you no need to do more code change, rather just create a stage you want to apply to the existing pipeline. Okay, this is again another advantages of using this pipeline design pattern. So to make it simple, what I can do, I will remove couple of services. So we'll simply create these three stage or step: validate, payment and shipping. Then we'll pass the order to each and every step. Okay, and then we'll just implement the pipeline design pattern to execute them in a sequential manner, step by step. So let's go to our IntelliJ IDEA. I already created one order DTO. There is no complex logic. Just define order ID, amount and status as a 3 field and constructor and toString. Okay. Now what is our job? We'll create these three stage. So first what I can do, I will create an interface. I'll name it order processing stage or pipeline stage, order pipeline stage, anything you can define. Now let me define a method. We'll take the input as a order and will return the order. The reason of defining this method, the input is a order and the output is a order, because let's say I have defined this in the validation stage. Now when it will move to the next stage, that is payment, it needs the validate stage return type to continue, right? Because same order object we are passing through each and every stage. Okay, so it's good to keep in an interface rather than hard code in a class. Now since you created one interface, let me define each and every step or stage. Now let me define something called validate or validation stage. I'll just create a class, then it needs to implement from order processing stage and just override the method. Now here I will just write the simple logic. Okay, we are not going to interact with the DB and process the order. Let's keep the logic simple to just demonstrate the use of pipeline design pattern. So just check the order amount. If it is less than 0, then keep the status as a invalid, something like that. So I'll check if, then keep the order dot status as a invalid, just print it for reference. Else just change the status to valid. Okay, this is the simple logic we have written in the validation stage. It will just check the amount. If it is less than 0, the order status will be invalid, and if it is greater than 0, if user pass the correct amount, the status will be valid. Now we are done with the validation stage. Now let's create the payment stage. This also needs to implement order processing stage. Just override the method. Now this payment stage will execute after the validate stage. It means when you did the validate stage, when your validate stage will execute, what it will set to the order object, the status of order based on some condition, right? So after this validation stage, request will come to the payment stage with the correct value, whether the status is invalid or valid. So what you can check here in the payment stage, since you have the order object which is given by validation stage, you can check the status here. If, what is the status we have kept here? If valid, then only we want to proceed, right? Dot equals order dot status. If status is valid, then do the payment related stuff. Okay, so nothing to do. I will just keep the order status equal to paid and just add some SOPLN statement, something like payment. Fine. Else just keep the status to failed. Fine. So just return the order object. Okay, after modify it, just return the order object. Do the same from your validation stage. So we have done with the validation stage, we have done with the payment stage. Now what is the status? This payment stage will go to the next step, that is shipping. So in shipping you need to get the object from payment stage and check what is the status of order. If order status is paid, then proceed with the shipping stage. So first let me create this stage, implements it from order processing stage, just override the method, then just check the order status. If it is paid, then continue with your shipping logic. So you can just check here if, then just again change the status, order dot status equal to shipped or something like that. Okay, just add some SOPLN statement saying that order shipped or something like that. Else just keep the order status as a failed and just add some dummy messages. Just change it to fine, just return the order object. Correct. So if you observe, this shipping stage depends on payment stage response, this payment stage depends on the validation stage response. Based on that response, it continue to execute. So shipping stage depends on the status of order. If it is paid, then only I need to ship that. So here actually you need to write the business logic. So since this is just a demo, I am just play with the sysout, but I am just giving the complete context of what pipeline design pattern does. Okay, cool. So we have created these three stage: validation, payment and shipping. Now we need to execute this, right? We have created an interface and having three implementation, but I want those process method needs to execute for each stage one by one. So what I can do, I'll create another class and I will keep all the stage in a list, then I will iterate that list and execute one by one. So for that what I can do, I'll create another class. You can create something like order processing pipeline or order pipeline, anything. Okay, now here what I can do, I'll just define a list of stages. Now at runtime you want to set the stage, right? Whether you want to keep validate next to that payment, next to that shipping, or before something you want to add, or after something you want to add, what you want to keep, that is, let's make it dynamic. So for that what I can do, I will just create a method public who will give me the object of order processing pipeline, and I will just add the stages. Okay, give the stages. What is that? Order processing pipeline. I'll add each stages to the list, or better, this should be your stages, right? Order processing stage, not pipeline. Okay, fine. I want to add the stage. Okay, so just add the stage and return the same object, this. Fine. So now when you'll set the stage dynamically by using this add stages method, all the stage will add to this list. Now I will write a method to iterate this list and execute process method of each stage one by one. Okay, so for that what I can do, I will just write a method public will return me the order object, execute. What it will execute? It will take your list and iterate and pass the order object, right? So I'll just loop the list. So what I can do here, I'll just do the for loop, this stage, iterate the list, then get the stage, each stage dot process, keep the order object. same order object you need to pass across each and every stage, right? So what it will return you? It will return you the order object. Now you just add a simple check if order status is invalid or it's failed, then terminate it. Don't proceed further. Okay. So if the status is invalid, what we have mentioned here? Just give the correct name. Anything. Okay. If any termination status, then break it. If it is failed, or if you have any terminate status, just include in the condition. Okay. If anything happened, then break it. Finally return the order object. That's it. Now just create a test class to execute your pipeline. That is the last step we have. So what I can do, I'll just create another class, order processing example, pipeline example, or whatever you want to keep. Then just define the main method. Then just create the order object, set some value. Let's say order ID is ORD, some number, price is 250. Okay, this is what my order object. Same order object I want to pass through each and every stage. Okay, so how can I add the stage? We have created a order processing pipeline class. Just create the object of that class. Now in the pipeline, add each and every stages. Add stages. What is the first stage? Validation stage, right? Give the validation stage. Then add the stage. Next, what stage you want to execute? I want to execute new payment stage. Next, what stage you want to execute? Just add it. That is new shipping stage. Okay. This is how you can define the stage in a sequence in your pipeline. This is called pipeline design pattern to execute multiple steps in a sequence. Okay. Now you have the pipeline object and we have defined the execute method here who will iterate the stages, and stages we added dynamically to our add stage method. Just call this method, it will simply execute, okay, each and every stage what you have defined. Just do one thing, pipeline dot execute and give the order object. Now first let's go with the happy scenario where we have the valid order object. So it means the happy scenario will be cover each and every stage will execute successfully without any failure. Okay, so let's run it and we'll see the output. So if you see the output, the first stage is validation stage, right? Order validated. What is that? Order ID and status is valid. Now the request will go to the payment stage with status valid. Payment stage will check if the order status is valid, then continue the payment process. That is how you can see here. Okay, and payment stage will change the status to paid. Correct? You can see, focus on the status. Based on status only, we are validating in each and every stage and we are continuing our logic. So see, the status is paid. If the status is paid, then we are going with the shipping stage. Okay, this is the happy scenario. All the three stages is executing without any failure. Now to forcefully break it, I'll just keep the amount 0. So if I'll keep the amount 0, first it will go to the validation stage. Here itself it will fail. You will not see the sysout statement for payment and shipping because the control will not delegate further. Okay, so let's run it and we'll see the result. Can you see here? Order invalid. What is the order? This. You can add the proper error message. Since this is just a demo, I'm just playing with the order status. Okay, this is what we understand, right? If a single step or stage will fail, the request will not propagate further, it will break there itself. Okay, that is what we can see here. This is one advantages, and we also discuss another advantages, that in future I want to include a new stage in the same pipeline. So what I can do? Nothing to do, just create a, let's see, I'll just create a new class notification stage, implements it from order processing stage, add the method, just check the order status after shipment. You want to continue that, right? So shipping stage, what is the status we are checking here? This one. So irrespective of it is shipped or failed, you want to send the notification, that is absolutely fine. You can just define here some sysout statement. So I just make it simple. We have not added any status check here because whether it is succeeded or failed, I want to send the notification saying that okay, this is what status of your order. So I want to include this stage. Simple step. We have added this new stage. Now I will do only a single change to reflect it in my pipeline. Just go here, just add that stage. Okay, so make it some 250. Now if I'll execute, can you see here? All the stage is executed and the new stage what we have added also executed. Fine. So adding a new stage to existing flow will just take 10 to 5 minutes or as per your business. Okay. Since this is just a demo, we added SOPLN, it took 30 seconds for us. But if it is a real-time implementation, just see the intention here to create a new stage, just plug into your pipeline. That is what the main goal of using this pipeline design pattern. Okay. So I hope you are good about this pipeline design pattern. Let's summarize few benefits of using this pipeline design pattern. So first point, you can consider clean separation of concern where each stage is responsible for a specific part of the processing. If you observe here, validation stage doing some job, right? Payment stage also responsible for payment related stuff. Like this, each stage will responsible for a specific part of the processing. And next, easier to extend. What do you understand? In future, if you want to add a new stage, just create that stage and plug into your existing pipeline the way we have done for the notification stage. Okay. And third point, testability. Each stage can be tested independently. That is what also another advantages of using this pipeline design pattern. Okay. Now where to use it? So we understand the main concern to use it wherever you want to do the data transformation or you want to process your data with multiple steps. So you can consider the ETL, right? ETL pipeline, or whenever you want to do image or video processing where multiple filter need to be applied on your stream or image or video. Okay. Or message handling system where your message needs to pass through a series of processing steps. You publish something to Kafka. Now once consumer consume it, he need to validate that with multiple steps. You can also use this pipeline design pattern in such kind of scenario. So I believe that's enough context about pipeline design pattern. We understand what is pipeline design pattern, when to use it, what is the benefit, and also you understand the pipeline design pattern with a real-time hands-on example. So just give a try with different scenario and let me know in a comment section if you have any doubts or if you have any concern. That's all about this particular video, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Meet you soon with a new concept.